Welcome back. Today we're gonna talk about English syntax and English word. Oh, okay. I'm from English Language and Culture Department, third semester, class P1. So today I have a task, recurring task, and discuss about English syntax and English word. So enjoy for watching my video. Okay, the first topic we're gonna talk about English syntax. The first one we're gonna talk about formal and notional definition in grammar. In the study of grammar, there are two main approaches to defining grammatical construction. The first one is formal definition and notional definition. Formal definition, this approach focuses on the structural features or forms of a word or phrase. For example, like the word truck is defined as a noun because it meets formal criteria such as being able to add the suffix as to make it plural, thus becoming trucks. This formal definition is easier to identify in grammar because it relies on the physical characteristic of the word or phrase. And the second one is notional definition. In contrast, the notional approach emphasizes the meaning or concept of the word. In this definition, a noun is anything that represents a person, place, thing, or idea. So, truck is considered a noun because it represent a thing. And another example, like the word tree, is formally a noun because it can be pluralized to trees, while nationally it also meets the criteria because it represents an object or thing. In the modern linguistics, formal definitions are preferred because they are more consistent and easier to use for identification. Second, word classes and phrases. Word classes such as nouns and verbs are the basic for forming phrases in English. Phrases are not based on the word class that is the center or head of the phrase. The head of the phrase is the word that is the main focus on a phrase. Okay, in word classes and phrase that has a part like adjective phrase. A phrase can become an adjective phrase if its center is an adjective. For example, in the phrase full of hope, full is the adjective that is the center of this phrase. And the second is verb phrase. Another example is a verb phrase such as might have mattered, where mattered is the main verb that is the core of the phrase. Sometimes a single word can also form a phrase. For example, in the sentence, necessity is the mother of invention. The word necessity can be called a noun phrase because it functions as the subject of the sentence. Another example in the sentence like the quick brown fox jumps over the lazy duck. The phrase the quick brown is an adjective phrase because it focuses on the adjective quick and describes the noun fox. Okay. Noun phrase. In English grammar, a noun phrase is a phrase that focuses on noun or pronoun. Noun phrases often indicate number, singular or plural, and can be either countable or uncountable nouns. Countable nouns such as table can have singular and plural forms, namely table and tables. And uncountable nouns, meanwhile uncountable nouns such as furniture do not have plural forms. We cannot say furnitures, furnitures in English. And another example, a bouquet of flowers is a noun phrase where bouquet is the head of the phrase and a flower is a prepositional phrase that functions as a complement. Fourth, verb phrase. Definition of verb phrase. There are two different views on phrasal verba. One has a more limited definition, and the other is broader. Limited definition. According to Quirk et al. 1985, phrasal verb consists of two components. 1. Lexical verb or full verb as the head of the phrasal verb. 2. Optional auxiliary verbs. Example: in the sentence, a lot can be read into a higher style. The word can is an auxiliary verb. Be is the main auxiliary verb. And the read is a lexical verb. Types of verb. Verbs are divided into two categories, regular and irregular. For the regular verbs, have consonant endings such as s, and at. For example, walk into walks, or prison, walk, pass. And irregular verbs do not allow the same pattern and often have vowel changes. For example, fight into folk, that pass. And closest sentence. Closest clauses, sentences, and clause function. Clauses and sentences have certain forms. For example, the declarative sentence, "The child rode a bicycle," consists of subject clause, the child, phrasal verba, ride a bicycle. Clauses also have a certain function. Subject, the preparator in the sentence. Predicate verb that describe action. Object, what is subject to action. Complementary, provide additional information. And adverbial, describe the condition or time. For example, in the sentence, the police officer questioned the child. The police officer is the subject. Questioned is a predicate. The child is the direct object. The next is primary and subordinate clauses. The sentence consists of main clause and one or more subordinate clauses. The main clause has a finite verb, while the subordinate clause does not. Main clause having a predicate with a finite verb. Example: she just walks away. Subordinate clause. The first does not have a finite verb. Second, led by subordinate conjunctions such as when, if, because. Example of subordinate clause. Because she was tired, where was is finite and tired is non-finite. Example of clause function. In the sentence, I gave him a red paper. I is the subject, gave is a predicate, him is an indirect object, a red paper is a direct object. The last of English syntax is clause function. Definition of clause function is determined by the relationship between elements in the sentence. Although pronouns such as I and me can be clearly considered as subject and objects, noun phrases in English do not have clear markers. Therefore, other linguistic criteria need to be considered to determine the function of certain elements in clauses. For example, of clause function, subject. In the sentence, the child paints pictures. The phrase the child is the subject because it is related to the predicate paints. If the subject turns into plural, like the children, the predicate also turns into paint. And the sentence type. Subject and predicate function are elements in most clauses. This helps define 4 types of sentences in English. The first type is declarative state defect. Example, the sky is blue. The second is interrogative as. Interrogative. As something, example like, is the blue sky? And the third, imperative. Giving order like, look at the sky. And the fourth, exclamatory. Expressing emotion, example like, what a beautiful sky. Yep. Other function in clause besides subject and predicate, there are other important functions. The first is object. Object can be a direct or indirect object. Example, in the sentence, I gave her a book. Her is an indirect object and a book is a direct object. The next is complement. Provide additional information about the subject or object. Example like, she is a teacher, where a teacher is the complement of the subject. Adverbial. Explaining the way, time, or place. Example, he runs quickly, where quickly is an adverbial. So, we move to topic 2, English word structure and meaning. Words have structure and meaning, just like sentences and clauses. Okay, let's break down these ideas in easy steps. The idiom principle. Words often bring along other words with them when used. This is the idiom principle, which means we naturally use some words together as if they are preset. phrases. For example, like when you hear "set about," it usually leads into describing an action, like "set about doing homework," where "set about" is naturally followed by an action or verb ending in "ing." Example: although she does set about creating her project, the phrase "set about" comes with the idea of starting a task. And the second, lexical semantics. This is about relationship between words based on their meaning. And the third, synonym. Words that mean the same or nearly the same, like happy and joyful. And antonyms. Words with opposite meanings like hot and cool. Cohymonyms. Words under the same category like poodle and bulldog. Types of meaning: grammatical and pragmatic. The first one, grammatical meaning. This is the direct meaning you get from just reading the words as they are. If you see the cat slept, you understand as a cat was sleeping. And yep, the second one is pragmatic meaning. Discuss beyond the words. For example, if a parent say, "We're going to be late," they might actually mean hurry up. It's not just about the words themselves, but what the speaker really wants to say. And the next is the morpheme. A morpheme is the smallest part of word that has meaning. Think of it like a piece of a puzzle that helps make the full word mean something. Its free morphemes can stand alone, like book or run. And bound morphemes can stand alone and need to attach to a free morpheme, like the S in the books or ing in the running. For example, a free morpheme. Play can be a word on its own. An example of bound morpheme: ed in played needs to attach to play to make sense. Okay, the next is inflectional versus derivational morphemes. The first one is inflectional morphemes. These morphemes add grammatical meaning but don't change the word core meaning or type. For example, as for plural. Example, cats. And ed for it or ed for past tense. Example, walk. And the second is derivational morphemes. These morphemes can change a word's meanings or its type from noun to an adjective. For example, like this and dislike changes the meaning to the opposite. And able in likeable turns like into an adjective. The next example is unhappiest. Un, a prefix, changes happy to the opposite. And as, an inflectional suffix, makes it a superlative adjective meaning the most happy. Using this concept can help in understanding how the words are built and why they can carry different meanings depending on their structure and context. This approach gives you tools to analyze English words more deeply and recognize patterns that help in learning new vocabulary. Okay, I think that's all for me today. So see you in the next video and thank you.